Welcome to another Together class, everybody. Today's class is about leaning into it. So if you're here on the East Coast, chances are you dealt with a little bit of the snow that we got here this weekend, and definitely a big part of like the snowstorm, right? It's like, it's here, it's happening. So you just gotta lean into it. No sense in fighting off nature. Just like that, we will be cultivating leaning into it in the practice. Particularly, we are talking about leaning on our scapula, which of course, when we're talking about things like inversions and getting upside down and stuff, really what we're talking about is learning to lean on the shoulder blades so that they can support us. But even if your goal is to never get upside down, there's still lots of benefits to getting on those, to leaning back into the scapula, such as you'll see in our twisted crescents and some of like our kneeling side planks. We will definitely be using the stability and the leaning on these scapulas to help to relieve and free some other areas, such as those sidelines of the neck and around the shoulders, areas that I know over the course of this last year, working virtually, doing what we got to do to lean into our current situation, we're definitely all feeling a little bit tighter and a little bit more congested up here in the upper core. So without further explanation, get a block and you'll set it up on your lowest height. So, the shortest setting that it has and the widest width. You're making like a little stage here for your shoulders. Before we even go into this, I'll say if you're watching this recording and you don't have a block at home, just go ahead and lay down on your back and spread your arms out like a goalpost, or you can reach them out like a capital T. So that'll get you a chest opening here. But if you are going with, the block move, go opposite to you, just so it's a little easier to see, you're going to set yourself up like you usually do for bridge. So I get that block underneath of me. I'm coming down onto my forearms to help set this up. We're going to lean our scapula onto it. So that's those two shoulder blades on the back. Now, I know it's behind you and we don't have each other to kind of help ourselves out and stuff here. So just let yourself, again, kind of find that spot on the forearms. Your sacrum's still on the ground. I let my feet kind of direct me and walk me around here. And then once I feel my two shoulder blades on the back, I'm going to take my hands behind my head, interlacing the fingers to give my neck a little support. First option, I'll say you can keep your elbows in nice and close and just lean back into that block. Let yourself have a little chest opening here. Now, if you practice with me regularly, you might find that just letting the elbows go open will also be a nice way to open up the chest. But if this feels like too much, it feels like a huge chest opening, absolutely, just bring those arms in. All letting the elbows out is doing is just kind of increasing that lever of the arms, again, giving you just a little bit more range of motion. And we don't want to force that range of motion, but we just want to lean into it, kind of see where it is, check in with it, and learn how we might be able to adapt that range of motion. So I'm just allowing my skull to rest in the palms, my palms holding and supporting my skull here. I have my elbows open, but they'd be just as good closed off. Keeping the low ribs contained here. We also want to notice if there's like a leakage anywhere along the abdominals or along the spine. So what I want you to pay attention to is even though you're opening up the chest and leaning back into those shoulder blades, you're not protruding the lowest ribs like up to the ceiling. You'll feel that because there will most likely then happen a little bit of compression in the low back. So see if you can almost like kind of point your tailbone towards your heels the whole time you're leading back into this block. And again, if you're laying on the floor, goalpost your arms or reach them out like a capital T and just lay on the floor and feel your shoulder blades on the ground there. That's also just going to be a lovely chest opening. The block is, a nice tool, but definitely not required just to feel opening in the chest. Let's all take about 2 more breaths here, really big. Take your time, fill up the sides of the ribs, get into those furthest expanses. And then slowly here, we'll begin to make our way up and off of the block. So I just like to bring my elbows in and then really gently here, I just kind of roll myself over to one side. So I'm just going to come around and get that block out from underneath of me. Now let's get started in our bridge pose like we normally do. So coming onto our backs, we can take the block in between our legs. So again, if you don't have a block, it's not a big deal, but if you do, take it on either the shortest or the narrowest setting or the medium setting. I find for most people, the widest setting is a little too wide, but hey, try it out. If the narrow or the medium's not working for you, take the block in between your legs. So it's really close to the pubic bone here. And we're getting it close there so that when we squeeze in around the block, we're really lighting up the adductors. Again, if you don't have a block, just pretend like you got a little invisible ball there in between the legs. We'll push into the feet and extend the hips. Extending the hips so that we take them out of that flexed hip position that they may have been stuck in throughout the week, working at your desk, your computer, all that good stuff. Even if you're not stuck at the desk or the computer, chances are you took some time to hang out on the couch. Might have gotten a little scrunchy in those front hip flexors. So we'll take our hands up to the ceiling and we'll start to stretch our left wrist. Now, even here, as you're taking this low ramp pose, feel yourself leaning on your scapula. So you're just leaning back on them, letting them to support you here. Squeeze the glutes. Feel like you could dial your left foot out to the left and your right foot out to the right, but don't pick your feet up and actually spin them out. Just energetically let it feel like a corkscrew sensation on that front thigh. Let's switch our wrists. So you circle that first wrist and we'll stretch the other wrist. Again, pull back on those 4 fingers, back toward your face, spread the thumb away from the center of the palm. Keep squeezing your block, keep rooting your glutes, and press those feet into the floor. Another big inhale. You get another one. As you release this right wrist, we'll circle it a few times. We're all going to bring our hands onto the bony frontal hip point, slide them around onto your glutes, and right where your legs plug into your glutes, you're going to give that a little pat, a little slap, a little poke and prod, like really dig those fingers into where the legs meet the glutes, and then start to lift and lower. So we're moving the hips into a little bit of extension. As you lower, you'll feel that flexion happening. As you lift, you're feeling that extension. You got to squeeze, squeeze, squeeze that block. Get those adductors working for you. I have sleepy left side adductors, so I always feel that right away. When I start to get this pulse going, it's like the left side. It's not like it's gonna like cramp, but I can feel that it's working harder than my right side. So again, just inviting these little opportunities to notice the asymmetries in our body. We don't live our lives symmetrically with movement. Just think about how you drive, right? You have one side doing something kind of different than the other side just by how your feet are interacting with the pedals and such. So, you know, sometimes our practice can't necessarily be symmetrical either in order for us to truly find that balance. So again, just encouraging you to feel those differences and to start to notice them so we can create that sense of homeostasis in the body. Now we'll all bring ourselves all the way down from the upper, middle, and then lower back. And you can remove that block from in between your legs. Take the hands behind your head and interlace your fingers. Tie those fingers together. This time we will pull our elbows in really close and tight. Even if you're used to having them wide, bring them in close here. It's going to be hard enough as it is. We don't need to make the arms any heavier for us. Inhale. Exhale and lift. So leaning into the fire, coming into that core, finding that core stabilization. Inhale, lower. Exhale and lift. Feel your belly button pull into your low back. Feel as though everything we're gathering together. That's what we're doing here. We're consolidating those forces of the body. Inhale and lower. Exhale, lift it. Take a little twist to the left. And you stay off that left shoulder blade. Stay up, 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 off that left shoulder blade. Come back through center. Inhale and lower. Exhale and lift. Everything gathers together. A little twist to the right. Stay off that right shoulder blade. Try and pull it in here. We'll come back to center. Inhale now. Exhale and lift. So everything gathers together. Take a little twist to the left and reach your right arm towards your left knee. So really want you to reach in that shoulder blade. Wow, big pull here. Right hand comes back behind the head. Inhale lower. Exhale and lift. Everything gathers together. Take a little twist to the right. Reach your left hand towards your right kneecap. So you just want to like reach towards that knee, really get that left shoulder spreading. Left hand comes back, inhale, lower. Exhale and lift, everything gathers together. We're going to reach a little lower. So twist to the left and reach towards like your left hip with your right hand. So really reaching a little bit lower, just a slightly different engagement. We'll come back through center, inhale, lower. Exhale and lift, everything gathers. A little twist to the right, reach towards your right hip with that left hand. So you're just reaching a little lower on your leg. You'll come back through center, inhale and lower. Exhale and lift. Twist to the left, reach towards that right hip with the right hand, and then kick your right foot forward. Spread the toes of the right foot. Just look at them there. It's a nice way to open up that foot. Left foot comes down, right hand comes back. Inhale, lower. Exhale and lift. Everything gathers. Twist to the right, reach left arm past the right hip. Kick your right leg forward. Really spread those toes. You can flex a little bit. Right foot comes down, left hand comes back. Inhale and lower. Wiggle your feet wide. Give yourself a little windshield wiper, side to side. Again, as you windshield wiper here, let yourself lean on the scapula. So allow your shoulders to stay down, but don't worry about how low the knees go as you rock them from side to side. We're really not trying to crank our low back here. We're just creating a little bit of thoracic mobility by moving the pelvis below a stable thoracic spine. And then we'll slow our little knee windshield wipers down. Come back up onto your forearms. It's just like how we started off our opening little warm up. Just ignore me. I'm just adjusting my mat a little bit. You'll come up onto your forearms, grab the sides of your mat as though you were trying to pull your mat apart. Now, I know you've done this move with me before. You're going to keep that chin in towards the chest and squeezing the shoulder blades together. We're already cultivating this feeling of leaning back and tipping back. Now, feel this engagement in your shoulders, but then bring your fingertips to the very lowest ribs. They're going to help keep this contained here. Again, keeping the container of the core lit up, leaning on the scapula. Kick your left foot forward and then bring it down. Kick your right foot forward and bring it down and keep going like that. And right away, you're going to start to want to feel the core engaged. Lean on the scapula, let the head relax back a little bit. You know, we don't want to crane the neck, but we're also not shooting forward with it either. Keep spreading the toes. Now, if this is feeling like pretty manageable, you might keep your legs up and just choose to like alternate lifting and lowering. Absolutely feel free to stick with the first option, with the feet on the ground and kicking forward. I just want you to find something that feels authentic, engaging for you. Again, cultivating leaning back into our scapula and getting a little bit of core engagement. We can even kind of pretend, you know, like we're at the beach, we're leaning on the raft, we're getting a little kick. Something that might be kind of far away for many of us, a few months away, if that, if we even get there this summer, but allowing ourselves just to lean back, feel the scapula supporting us and getting that work going. Let's all just get like another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So we'll bring those feet down and we'll come around on the hands and knees. Again, give yourself a little adjustment, whatever you need. In your hands and knees here, we'll find our quadruped. And again, cultivating leaning on the scapula. Bring your right hand behind your skull and press your left hand down into the ground. Now, feel as though you could dial your left hand out to the left. Your left hand will actually move though. What you'll feel is that dialing out helps you lean on your left shoulder blade and rotate the ribs open to the right. And then we'll just bring our chest back in line with the floor. Do that like 4 more times. Pressing the left hand, feel like you're dialing it out to the left, rotate the ribs open to the right, and then bring yourself back through center. So energetically, we're just using that like dialing out sensation to hug the scapula onto the back ribs. You want to feel your shoulder head is still centered. Notice if it feels like it's rolling forward on you. Want to avoid that rolling forward. Try and keep the joint centered. Bring it back. Right hand comes down, left hand comes behind your skull. Use your palm just to gently remind the skull to stay in line with the shoulders. Pressing the right hand and rotate the ribs open to the left, and you bring your chest back in alignment with the floor. You press, rotate open, and then bring it back in line. So it's this rotation open, peeling the chest open, and then bringing it back in line with the floor. Pressing the hand, rotating that chest open, bring it back in line with the floor. Press into the right hand, rotate your chest open 1 more time, and bring it back in line to the floor. Left hand coming down will come down onto the forearms, set up for your dolphin pose. Now, first we'll bring our forearms down. Of course, you can always have a block in between these hands or choose to tie those fingers together. Tuck your toes underneath and release your neck. Then push into your forearms and spread your shoulder blades. Hover your knees and hoist your pelvis up towards the ceiling. Allow yourself to breathe here. So fill up the back like a big balloon. Exhale, push more into your forearms. Lift your shoulders up to your ears, like really spread those ribs out. Whoo! Keep the low ribs contained, like they're pulling into the low back. Left foot will stay down, right leg lifts up. Bend your right knee and roll the right thigh open. So we're getting a little hip opening here in that right leg. Just feeling this here. 2 more breaths. Big breath in. Push more into your forearms. Exhale, lift the ribs away from the floor. 1 more inhale. Exhale, push in the forearms, lift those ribs. The right foot will come down and we'll lift our left leg up. So left leg lifts, bend the left knee, and rotate the left hip open to the left. Keep pushing to the right toes, keep pushing down into your forearms. It's the press down that's gonna lift you up. 1 more breath here, big breath in. Exhaling, staying with the leg up, then bringing the left leg down. 1 more breath here in Dolphin. And then knees come down. Sit it back for Child's Pose. We'll get a little breath break. A few breaths there. 1 more big one. Inside out. Now we'll also make our way up to the wall for a little down dog, dolphin at the wall. Of course, down dog, dolphin at the wall, pretty much the same setup for both of them. It's just about whether or not you want to be on your forearms or your hands. No, too, you can always use your chair or a couch as a way to just create a little bit more accessibility for this pose. Either way, you can bring your feet to the edge of the chair or to the wall. Use your hands or a block to measure out where your hips are. Your hands are going to stay in place, but they're going to flip around as you flip around here to your quadruped. In your quadruped, hands are down under the shoulders. We'll bring our feet back against that wall, and then again, hoist the pelvis up towards the ceiling. This time, keep a lot of weight in those hands. We are going to be loading these arms. Slowly walk your legs up the wall. And as you start to extend into those legs, allow yourself to feel that posterior chain opening up. Push down to the hands, grab the floor, elbows stay straight, release the neck, and just allow yourself to feel this lighting up. Every time you come down, shake it out. I like to shake my wrists out, roll them a couple times, and then come right back into it. And, if you ever forget that measurement of the hands, flip it around, or again, that's where the block is useful there. Gives you that little reminder, the way our mats are set up. It makes it easy for me to know where they were last time. I'll say, like that second one, that third one, you might not hold it as long, but that's okay. We're building endurance. We're building all this awareness up into these muscle groups. Again, I like to give that reminder. It's not a position our body's in very often, but it's a position that can greatly benefit us, weight bearing, getting upside down. So just using that to take advantage and again, create that sense of homeostasis in the body and balance. Let's all come up to the top of the mat, grab a sip of water, and we'll get ourselves moving. So then from here, start off with some sun salutation A's. Inhale, reach the arms forward and up. Exhale, hinge at the hips, hands come down, right foot back, right knee down, lower the top of the foot. Inhale, arms reach forward. And up long and tall in the spine through those side ribs, shoulders reaching up to the ears. Hands come down, tuck the back toes, and step back to plank. Lower your knees and lower all the way to the ground. Keep the head of the arm bones lifted. Pull back your hands in Cobra, root the tailbone. Tuck the toes, pressing the hands, lift through plank into downward facing dog. Right foot steps forward, left knee comes down. Top of the foot comes down, inhale, arms reach forward and up. 90-90, low lunge. Hands come down, step to the top of the mat, and exhale. Inhale, arms reach forward and up. Exhale, hinge at the hips, hands come down. Let those hips lead the way back. Left foot steps back, left knee comes down. This time, goal post your arms as you come up to 90-90, low lunge. So I want you to feel your shoulder blades tacking onto the back ribs. Elbows are mostly going to be in line with the shoulders. Just really notice that they're drooping down on you. Hands come down, step back to plank. Lower the knees, lower all the way to the floor. Head of the arm bones, stay lifted. Pull back your hands in your Cobra, root the tailbone, pressing the hands, lift through plank and into downward facing dog. Left foot steps forward, right knee comes down, goalpost the arms again, and you're 90-90. So again, goalpost the arms, take that breath. Hands come down in front of the front foot. Step the right foot to meet the left. Exhale, inhale, arms reach forward, and up. Exhale, hinge at the hips. Right foot steps back, right knee comes down. Inhale, arms reach forward and up. Left hand comes down into a fist and onto that back right glute. Breathe here. So I'm containing the front of the right hip, not letting it sink forward, lifting the pressure out of my right knee. Right glute is working. Right arm's reaching up. Feel that right shoulder blade is elevating, but at the same time, it's hugging onto those back ribs. Right hand comes down to the floor or up onto a block. Tuck the right toes if they haven't already and lift the right knee. Now, just like we did in opening up the book, feel like you could dial your right hand out to the right and rotate the chest open to the left here. You're doing this by having the right shoulder blade hug the back ribs. Head of the arm bone stays centered. You can even take your left hand and feel that arm bone joint real quick, right where it plugs into your torso. Make sure it's not rolling forward. You'll feel it nice and centered there. From here, left hand can then go back to the right glute, or it can raise up. Either way, it's not cranking us further into the twist. The twist doesn't come from the top arm, it comes from the bottom arm, pressing into the ground, engaging, stabilizing. One more breath here. Left hand comes down. If you're on the block, remove that block from under the right hand. Left foot steps back, downward facing dog. 2 breaths here. Breathe in your back like a big balloon. Exhale, lift the belly into the back. One more breath. Come forward and plank. And then holding your plank here, we're going to tap right knee down, left knee down. Then lift the right knee and then the left knee. Tap right knee down, left knee down. Lift right knee, lift left knee. Right knee down, left knee down. Right knee lifts, left knee lifts. 2 more. Right, left, right, left, right, left. Now you can either stay like this or lower in a full plank. Up to you to have the knees down or lifted. Lower all the way to the ground. Now that we're on the ground, everybody grab the edges of your mat. So grab the edges of your mat. Feel like you're going to pull it apart. Inhale, Cobra. Rise in the chest by rooting the tailbone and pulling your mat apart. Lower. Hands come underneath of you. Press through plank. Lift up with the pelvis. Downward facing dog. Left leg lifts. Bend the left knee. And like in Dolphin, open the left hip up to the left. Just move your leg bone inside the hip socket. So I'm not lifting the structure around my hip, my pelvis. I'm only rotating the left leg out to the left. One more breath here. Come forward and plank, modified side plank. Left knee is down. You can adjust the left hand so it's underneath the left shoulder. Open up for your modified side plank, leaning on that left scapula. Again, feel like your left hand can dial out to the left. Let that travel up the forearm, into the tricep, and onto that scapula of the back ribs. Again, right hand can come and check the right glute, or we could choose to rise it up. Let your left ear go to your left shoulder. Oh, keep pushing into the right foot that's long. Use that to squeeze the right glute, and it'll help you open up this right side a little. Everybody bring right hand down. Step that left foot back to plank. Hoist the pelvis up, downward facing dog, and then step to the top of the mat. Bring your right foot forward and your left foot forward. Exhale, inhale, arms reach forward and up. Exhale, hinge at the hips. Hands come down, left foot steps back. Left knee comes down, arms reach forward and up. Left arm stays up, right hand comes around into a fist and onto the left glute. Squeeze your left glute, lift it up into that right fist. Keep reaching up the left arm. Everything gathers and fills here. Exhaling and bringing it back together. One more. And we'll bring our left hand down. Get ready for that twisted crescent. So again, I'm going to grab my block to bring it under my left hand. Tuck the left toes and lift the left knee. You can check the glenohumeral joint on that left side with the right hand. Make sure that left shoulder head isn't rolling forward. But as you press into that left hand, feel that dialing out. It'll rotate your ribs open to the right. Again, you don't want to do it though by pushing that shoulder head forward. Hug that scapula onto the back ribs. From here, that right hand can stay on the left glute, or we can reach the right arm up. Try to let your left ear go towards your left shoulder and see if the right side of the neck can just, release itself a little there. We'll bring our right hand down, remove the block from underneath the left hand, and step back into plank. Feel your scapula on your back ribs. Hoist your pelvis up, downward facing dog. 2 breaths here. A big breath into the back like it's a big balloon. Exhale, lift the front line of the body higher into the back line of the body. 1 more breath. Come forward in plank. Once again, find that alignment in plank. You can always move your feet or your hands. Left knee taps down, right knee taps down, left knee lifts up, right knee lifts up. So we're going from kneeling plank, left knee, right knee, to regular plank, left knee, right knee. Just tapping them down together and then lifting them. Well, it's one at a time, but they eventually both come down together. So it's like left down, left up, left down, right down, left up, right up. 1 more. You can choose to keep the knees down or lift them if you prefer that, lower all the way to the ground. It's harder. Get the hands on either side of the mat, pull it apart, root the tailbone, and lower. Hands come down, press through plank. Hoist the pelvis once again, downward facing dog. Lift the right leg this time. Just like your dolphin, bend the right knee and just rotate the right hip open to the right. So push down to the hands, lift your chest away from the floor. Don't allow it to collapse down towards the floor. Again, keep that head of the humerus centered. That arm bone is going to need to stay centered for a bunch of our poses today. So we're going to practice it in every pose, not just not practice it in one pose. That'd be inconsistent messaging. Right foot comes down, right knee comes down. Modified side plank. Right hand's under the right shoulder, right knee's under the right hip. Open up to the left. First, I like to take my left hand on top of my left hip, make sure that that's feeling aligned. Then I go and I check my right shoulder socket, make sure that right arm bone feels nice and secure. So your hand might be further in front of you or too far back or behind. So go ahead and bring it right underneath that right shoulder. And then from there, you could lift that left arm up, or again, just choose to keep it by your side. They're both good options. Press into your left foot. That's going to help squeeze your left glute, get you more opening on the left side. Maybe here too, see if that right ear can release. So again, by leaning on our scapula, we can ask some of the neck muscles to relax that are normally working for us, since we're stabilizing some of the scapular muscles that are actually kind of lax on us as we go throughout the day. Lower the left hand down, step the right leg back, hoist the pelvis up, downward facing dog, and step to the top of the mat. You could do left foot, right foot, exhale, inhale, arms reach forward and up. Do some salutation A's, exhale, hinge at the hips, hands come down, step, or you can give a little hop back, your choice. Lower, knees or not, come all the way to the ground, have the arm bones stay lifted, pull back your hands for Cobra or reach your arms back in a locust. Hands come down, press into the floor, rise up, downward facing dog. Big breath here, and exhale. So here's a opportunity to lean on your scapula. You want to coil and spring and push through your toes, go for it. Whole time though, feel like your scapula are leaning, and we'll get a little hop forward, a little lean into the shoulders, come to the top. Inhale, arms reach forward and up. Exhale, hinge at the hips, hands come down, step or give a little hop back. Plank pose, lower, knees or not. Head of the arm bones stay lifted, pull back your hands in Cobra or reach them back for locust. Hands come down, press and lift. Downward facing dog. Again, you can stay here and breathe, or you can choose to bend and straighten the knees, push through the toes, bend and straighten, push through the toes. Try to lean on those scapula. I really trust that they'll catch you there. I almost surprised myself. It's kind of scary, but then my scapula caught me. So feet come down, inhale, arms reach forward and up. Exhale, hinge at the hips. Hands come down, step or hop back. Plank pose, your scapula holding you here. Lower all the way to the ground, Cobra or locust. Scapula still in the back ribs. Press the hands, rise up, down dog, hinge at the hips. Bring that up high. One more time here. Breathe in down dog. Choose to coil and spring. Bend and straighten. Try a little lean into the shoulders, whatever you're most comfortable with. We'll come down to the top. Inhale, arms reach forward and up. Exhale, hinge at the hips. Move the hips first. Hands come down, step or hop back. Plank pose, lower, knees are not. Head the arm bones, stay lifted. Pull back your hands. Cobra, locust, press, lift, down dog. Right foot down, left foot lifts. Opportunity to press to that right toe or step the left foot forward. Everybody rise up for a crescent lunge. Inhale, arms reach forward and up. Kind of like how we started. Right arm's gonna stay reaching up, left hand comes around, make a fist with it and bring that new fist down and onto that back right glute. Keep reaching up with the right arm and really allow yourself to lean back into that right glute. So you keep a little bend in the right knee. Your left knuckle is securing the right glute, keeping it lifting up, right arm reaching up. One more breath here. And sweep the right arm down, parallel the feet and side lunge to the right. Side lunge to the left and side lunge to the right. I'll keep that going a couple more times. I'm getting a little touchdown, but you don't have to touch down. You can also keep your hands up on the hips. So we move it back, side to side. Now remember that goal post that we started off with. Turn to the back of the mat, lower your left knee down, 90-90 low lunge, goal post the arms. Feel like you have stapled each scapula onto your back ribs. Breathe here, 2 breaths. Big in the chest. Go ahead, bring the hands down. 2 options here. 3-legged down dog, right leg goes up and back, or lower your forearms for 3-legged dolphin, and then just push into your left big toe. Press it, press it, press it, press it, and press it. Ooh, and then right foot comes down, knees come down, quadruped. Take a little cat-cow here. Pull the chest forward. We're facing the back of the mat in our quad. Push the hands, spread the shoulder blades. Pull the chest forward. Press the hands and spread. One more. Pull forward, inhale. This time, press in the hands, spread your shoulder blades, tuck your toes, and hoist your pelvis up towards the ceiling. Find yourself in that downward facing dog. This time, our left foot will be down, right leg lifts up. As you bend and straighten, we'll push through the left big toe. Again, you have a little opportunity. Otherwise, step the right foot forward, left foot back, high lunge, facing the back of the mat. Left toes pressing to the ground, right leg is forward. Inhale, arms reach forward and up. We'll keep the left arm reaching up. This time, right hand comes around onto the back left glute. Lift your glute up and into your right knuckle. Reach that left arm up to your ear. And then if it feels good, lean back a little bit into it. Again, remember the core work. We're not protruding the front ribs. So you don't want to pop those forward and go into your low back. Low back's working hard enough for you. Let's get the abdominals working here. Keep reaching up. Keep the front line of the body contained. Then swipe the left hand down. Parallel the feet and side lunge to left. Side lunge to right. As you're side lunging, I find it very useful to think about how I'm loading my feet and try and notice, does like my big toe lift on either side? Do I have a tendency to lean back on the heels, or do my heels tend to lift? Again, it's all just about balance, noticing where our body likes to load and where it doesn't like to load. And more than anything, it's just good information for you. Okay, what's going on the left side of that right foot? How come that pinky keeps lifting? We can explore it, experiment with it. Okay, everybody, turn to the front of the mat and lower your right knee down again. 90-90 low lunge with the goalpost arms. Tack, shoulder blades onto the back ribs. Big inhale here. One more. Remember, we have 2 options now. Hands come down, 3-legged down dog. Right leg goes up and back. You start to press into the toes again, or lower your forearms down for dolphin. Press into the toes. We're just doing like 5 seconds, just a little ankle mobility. Last one, left foot comes down, knees come down, press back up onto your hands and take your quad reped. Pull forward with the chest, push in the hands, spread the shoulder blades, pull forward with the chest. I think of it like a Cobra pose as I'm pulling forward, and then cat round, really spread the shoulder blades. So it's just, it's Cobra pose for your chest, you know, it's the same action of pulling the hands back, feeling the chest broaden, and you're pushing, you're spreading the shoulder blades. Let's just get one more. And we'll exhale, tuck the toes, hoist the pelvis up high, downward facing dog. Your choice, take a step to the top of the mat, bend and straighten, get a little push and lean onto that scapula, shoulder blades, whatever you like best. Rise on up, grab a little water, wipe off some sweat. It's already time to put these two sequences together. Again, think about leaning on these scapula. How can we rely on something that typically is not getting leaned on? And that's actually kind of the other part of this class. When we learn to lean on our scapula, they'll support us from behind as opposed to forward rounded like a lot of us have, right? I know I'm included in that category. It's tough. We got to learn to activate the scapula, get ourselves leaning back on them. Otherwise, they do start to slump off of our shoulders. And then again, it's creating an imbalance where we really could be a little bit more balanced, have that homeostasis that the body so deeply craves. Remind myself real quick, we have a few extra moves in here. So if they feel like too much, I absolutely encourage you, go with the first move that we did. Otherwise, come along with it. I'm double checking. We don't even turn to the back of the mat in this flow, but we will flip around at one point. So just get ready for that. As always, if something feels like too much, feel free essentially to like skip the movement that we add onto it and hold the pose. Like at one point, we'll be doing twisty planks. You know, I know it can be challenging. So if you'd rather hold your plank instead, or even go back to those knee taps, absolutely welcome to do it. Again, just encouraging you to take all the tools in this practice and utilize them to get the most out of it. Wherever you are, you will find yourself back in mountain pose. Top of the mat. Inhale, reach the arms forward now. Hinge your hips and exhale. Hands come down, right foot steps back. Right knee comes down. Inhale, arms reach forward. And keep reaching up with the right arm and bring your left hand down and around onto the back. Right glute. Lift your right glute up and into that left knuckle. Keep reaching up with the right arm. You can lean back a little bit into those shoulders. But again, don't let those front ribs pop. If you want to go a little lower, down to your hamstring, can encourage that. If you want to go even lower, down to your heel, I'll encourage that. But our rule here is if you start to feel a ton of pressure in your knee, come back up. Stay supported. Get that opening, but we don't want to sacrifice pressure that's not necessary anywhere. Right hand comes down inside the left foot. Lean into that right shoulder blade and lift the right knee. Twisted crescent. Again, left hand can check the shoulder joint. It can check the right glute, and then it can come up as you lean into that right shoulder. Option here is you let that right ear go to the left shoulder to straighten your left leg. It doesn't have to become completely straight, but straightening it might give you a nice little pull through that hamstring and into the low back. Keep a little squeeze of your left glute while you're doing this. Now remember, keep dialing that right hand out to the right. It does not actually move, but it helps to get that right shoulder blade hugging your back ribs. One more breath. Left hand comes down. Remove the block from under the right hand. Step back into down dog. Place the pelvis up high. Come forward and plank. Go from like the low back, the middle back, the upper back, straightening out. And then we'll ripple in our upper back, middle back, and low back to down dog. We'll do that 2 more times. Pushing through the toes, rippling forward into plank. Settling those shoulder blades on the back ribs, and then rippling in the upper back. Then we'll back the lower back as we hoist our pelvis back up to down dog. Coming forward to that plank. One more time from that plank into that down dog ripple. And then last time forward into that plank. So again, you ripple low back, mid back, upper back until you feel your shoulder blades and your scapula hug back on to the back ribs. Now we'll coil and spring by sending our butt to the left, our knees to the right, and then forward for that plank, butt to the right, knees to the left. So as you coil, your knees go one way and the hips go off to the other. Just a little coil and spring here. A little coil and spring. Again, you can be holding plank, tapping your knees instead if coiling and springing is not working for you. One more time, coil and spring from plank. You'll lower knees all the way to the ground, head of the arm bones, stay lifted. Once again, grab the edges of your mat. Pull that mat apart, Cobra, and then we'll go wide with our Cobra. Forehead stays down, fingertips come up in line with the shoulders. You can have your forehead all the way down. Again, the microphone's gonna get a little weird if I do that. So with your elbows up, pull those shoulders back, root your tailbone and pull. So you're pulling your shoulders down towards your hips. You're lifting your chest, but it doesn't have to be anything extreme. And just let your head come along for the ride. So we don't lift the chin, but we keep that in line with the chest. Lower all the way down. Hands come back by your side. Press through the floor into plank. We'll rise up. Hips go high, downward facing dog. Right leg stays down, left leg lifts. Bend the left knee and don't move anything except the left leg bone. Roll it out to the left. Don't let those hips move. 2 more breaths here. Big breath, push in your hands. Exhale, reach your shoulders up to your ears. Feel more space come into your ribs. 1 more breath. And exhale. Come forward into modified side plank. Left knee comes under the left hip. Left hand is under the left shoulder. And as we open up again, I like to take my right hand on top of my right hip. Check. Make sure I'm in line, feeling good here. Left hand is underneath the left shoulder. If I'm too far forward or too far back, I'm gonna get impingement there. So I wanna bring that left hand directly underneath the left shoulder. 2 more options is to lift that right arm up. Another option is to lift that right leg. And actually the third option will be bend the right knee and grab hold of that right foot. So you don't have to take this. You could also keep the right foot on the ground for more stability. 1 more breath like this. Option, feel free to stay like this or flip it around into 1 arm table. So we'll land our right foot behind us, left foot steps next to it. My knees are pretty close together as I extend my hips up. Right arm's reaching, leading the way. I also will often keep my right hand around my left glenohumeral joint, again, where that arm bone plugs in the shoulder socket. And just make sure it's centered, feeling good there. All right, I feel good to reach that up, root the tailbone, flip it around, down dog. Right foot steps back next to the left, and we're facing the front of the mat again. From here, right foot stays down, left leg lifts up, your choice, bending straight in the knee, press through, feel a little lean into your shoulder blades, or choose to just step that left foot forward, right foot comes back, inhale, arms reach forward and up, right arm reaches up, left hand comes down, make a fist with that left hand and bring it on to the right glute. Again, reach up with that right arm, feel this big expansion through the side body. Just a few more breaths like that, really breathing it, really big here, filling up those lungs. Now, right hand comes down. We'll bring our right knee down behind the left ankle and come to a seated spiral. So you're gonna wanna sit down in that seated spiral, raise the spine up tall, and we'll roll our shoulders back 1 at a time. Always so nice to just get some freedom in this upper thoracic spine. If you've been shoveling, then you definitely are gonna enjoy getting a little movement around these bad boy shoulder blades. It's really a shame. They get blamed for so much, the bad boys. Really, they're just behind us. We're not paying enough attention to them because we're not looking at them. So amazing, things that aren't always in plain view, right? Like the garage, the attic. Sometimes those things can get a little out of sorts just because we're not looking at them very much. All right, slow your shoulder rolls down and unwind. Your shoulders are no different. Let's pay attention to them. Side to side, lunge. So you unwind all the way to the right. If you're facing that right side of the mat, it's like if the front of your mat was north, you're facing east now. Side to side lunges. Again, feel free to throw a little touchdown in there. It's just nice to get a little extra range of motion. Certainly not required. And then we'll turn to the front of the mat. So actually everyone side lunge to the right first. So we kind of talk about this. We'll get some hip opening. So side lunge to the right, left leg's getting long here. Spine is long. We're gonna turn to the front of the mat in a second for either 3-legged down dog dolphin or funky dolphin. So know that you can take your three-legged down dog, your dolphin with the forearms down, or we'll go asymmetrical with it. Walk your hands back to the front of the mat, palms land, left leg goes up and back, three-legged down dog, or lower the forearms down, three-legged dolphin. Third option is to bring your left hand in next to your right elbow, and from there you can bend your left knee and open up that left hip. Maybe start to push into your right toe from there. Either way, we can open up the hip in dolphin, in down dog, in funky dolphin. And just press into your right big toe, extend that heel. Just another 3, 2, and 1. Get ready for it. Left foot steps forward, right foot steps forward. Inhale, arms reach forward, hand up. Exhale, hinge at the hips, hands come down. Left foot steps back, left knee comes down. And once again, 90-90 low lunge. Arms reach forward and up. Left arm stays up. Right hand comes around into a fist onto that back left glute. Now reach up with that left arm and lean back into that left shoulder blade. Don't pop the front ribs. Keep them contained. You can always slide your right hand down your left leg. Or even go a little further. And then we'll all bring our left hand inside that right foot. Again, if you prefer to have your hand up on a block, that's what I'm going with. Tuck your left toes, lift that left knee. Right arm can check the left shoulder socket, then come back to the left glute, or as you press that left hand and rotate your ribs open to the right, it might choose to come along for the ride, but that's just it. It's not leading the way. It's just come along for the ride. You're gonna press in that right foot maybe and get a little more straight in that right knee. Straight to kneeing, not completely straight. So it does not matter if we get that knee locked out. All I want you to do is feel a nice big pull on that right side of the hip. One more breath here. Right hand comes down, stepping back into down dog. 3 times here, coming into plank. Ripple forward, think. Lower back, middle back, upper back. It's like a little ripple, and then it all kind of straightens out here, back in plank. Shoulder blades on the back ribs. You go opposite. Upper back, middle back, lower back. It's like a little wave travels through them. You ripple back into down dog. Let the knees bend. Come forward in plank. Straighten those knees a little bit. And bring it forward. Shoulder blades on the back ribs. Pressing the hands. Hoist the pelvis up high. Keep that weight in the hands. Let the knees bend. Come forward into that plank. Really, really nice. And then everybody lower the knees or not. How do the arm bones stay lifted? Grab the edges of your mat. Pull it apart. Pull those shoulder blades down. Feel a lot of heat here. And then lower down. Forehead comes down. Hands come in line with the shoulders. Pop up onto your fingertips like your hands are tense here. Point your elbows up. Head is down. Inhale. Fill up the back. Root your tailbone. Lift the belly. Exhale. One more breath like that. And hands come down. Press into the palms and rise up through plank and into downward facing dog. From your downward facing dog, lift the right knee, bend the right knee, and open up the right hip. Take a few breaths here. Keep pushing into the hands, keep straightening the elbows, just moving the leg bone and the hip socket. Don't let the structure around your hip, your pelvis start to move. That's pelvic mobility. Not that we don't want that, but I want you to get hip mobility. So if your pelvis moves for your hip, you're denying that of the hip. Let's keep that hip open and then come forward into modified side plank. Hip is actually going to stay in the same position as we're rotating open to the left. So I like to, again, check my left hip. Make sure it feels secure, engaged with the floor. Right hand is under the right shoulder. If my hand's out of place, I can always move it real quick. Then the left hand can come up for the ride, or if you like, you can lift the left leg. And also if you like, you can bend the left knee and grab hold of the left foot. And so our fourth option will be that reverse tabletop. I apologize on the other side. I didn't really point out that you do not have to take that. It's just if you're feeling it, if you want that. So either feel free to stay here, grabbing your foot, opening up the hip, or lower your left foot behind you, step that right foot next to it, lean on your right shoulder blade for a reverse table, dancer's table. It's kind of like a fun dance move, you know? You can always keep your left hand around your right shoulder socket to double check that's in place. From there, root your tailbone and really feel the core contained. Hold those front ribs in. Flip it around, downward facing dog. Everybody, left foot is down, right leg lifts up. Your choice here to bend and straighten and try a little hop, lean on your shoulder blades, your scapula. Just got to trust that they'll take the weight, and then right foot comes forward, left foot goes back, and you got to practice. Inhale, arms reach forward. Now, trust me, oh man, you got to practice. Arms reach up, right hand is up, or sorry, left hand stays up. Now the right hand comes around onto the left glute. Keep reaching up with that left arm. Really reach it up. Right hand stays on the left glute just to secure it here. Don't pop the front ribs. It's a big iliopsoas opener. Should be feeling a huge pull in that front left hip flexor in a good way. And then left hand comes down, left knee comes down behind, outside the right ankle, seated spiral. Sit up on a block or kick your bottom leg out. If for any reason the hips don't feel even with the floor, I'm telling you, really important to get those hips even. So either kick the leg out or come up on a block if they're not, and we'll roll the shoulders back. I find most practitioners are flexible enough in the hips that they're comfortable with both cheeks on the ground. I am not that flexible in my hips. So especially for anyone out there who's a little more rigid around the muscles of the pelvis, those two options are going to do a lot to really help to balance out that spine. And again, we're just always looking for ways to adapt and modify the practice so it's sustainable, so it makes sense for our bodies. There's no reason to push or pull ourselves into some ideal that works for somebody else, but might not necessarily be great for us. Everybody's different, right? We'll slow our shoulder rolls down. We'll unwind to the left. And side lunge. So once you have your feet set up, sit back in the left hip, side lunge to the left, sit back in the right hip. Again, you can keep your hands up on your hips. You could touch one hand down at a time. You could even slide your hands down your shins. I'll turn to the side just to show this a little clearer. Or if you can, without overly rounding your back and keeping a little engagement in the core, you might grab your ankles. So I'm literally cupping the front of my ankles and just working on ankle mobility. Deep ankle flexion is really lacking for a lot of us. So this can really help you mobilize that and get it going. Every side lunge to the left here. And remember, we're gonna hold this for a few breaths, but prepare for your three-legged down dog, your three-legged dolphin, or your three-legged funky dolphin. One more breath here. Walk your hands back to the front, palms are down. So I'll set up down dog first. Right leg goes up and back, three-legged down dog. Forearms can come down. Option from here to slide the right hand back in line with the left elbow. That's funky dolphin. Bend the right knee, open up the right hip. Funky dolphin is challenging because you're asymmetrically loading your left shoulder. There is more weight in it now. So again, asymmetry. If that left side is weak, we might want to take this more, get it stronger, help to pump it up. Pushing that left big toe, just 3, 2, and 1. Right foot steps forward, left foot steps forward, just to keep it even. Inhale, arms reach forward and up. Exhale, hinge at the hips. Right foot steps back, left foot steps back, both knees come down. Oh, find yourself in your quadruped, and then lower down onto your forearms. We're gonna do cat-cow from here. So I do like the forearms down option because what this is gonna do is it's gonna limit how much your pelvis can move, and it's gonna help you. You won't feel like you're moving as much, but it's actually gonna help you get more into your middle, your thoracic spine. The reason it doesn't feel like we're moving as much is because we're stabilizing the pelvis. We're not letting the pelvis move as much for us. So with both your forearms down here, cat-cow it. Pull that chest forward, push in the hands, and spread your shoulder blades. Pull the chest forward, push your hands and spread. So just down on those forearms, get that cat-cow. And stick with that, or circle your ribs a few times. So you can take them up to the right as you push down. You don't worry, whichever way you start off, just circling your ribs here, because you're gonna go both directions. And again, circling is an option. So you could definitely stick with cat-cow classic style. Go the other way if you're doing a few circles. And if you're cat-cowing, stick with cat-cowing. Of course, feel free to take more of those if the practice is really calling for a whole lot more of those. But we'll all come from our forearms round onto our back. Take a figure 4 here. Come around onto your back. We can cross our right ankle over our left thigh. Externally rotate that right thigh. My left foot can either stay walked in or I can lift my left foot off the ground. Can even be nice with your left knee really relaxed to hold your left leg. But then from there, try to push like your left leg into your hands. Now don't push so much that your sacrum lifts off the ground, your tailbone points down, but you just get a little more opening in the hip. Release your left foot, uncross. Of course, take that for longer if you feel like you really need a longer stretch in that hip. Externally rotate that left femur bone. Again, right leg comes up. If you want it up, you can really relax your right knee. I will sometimes just hug the back of my leg, but then actually the real challenge is to push my right leg into the hands and allow that to open up. And if you want, you can stay there for longer or release your right leg. Shavasana, you can either keep the feet walked in or let them go long. I like to walk my feet in, drop my knees in towards each other, root my tailbone. It just helps me keep my back really long, a little more congested in that low back. You choose what's comfortable for you, and then also know that if at any point in the Shavasana you decide to change the position you're in, you're welcome to do that. You're not beholden to the first position. Side out and let go of even holding on to the core, any muscles, just let them all go. Just let yourself feel and retune. If you want to stay in Shavasana for longer, feel free to stay there. You can either ignore the next directives or pause the tape. At the bottom of the next exhale, maybe wiggle the fingers and toes just a bit. When you inhale again, you can reach the arms up and overhead. Just allowing it to be a really big stretch to open it all up. Gather the limbs in towards the torso, like cannonball style, and give a little rock from side to side. You'll rock yourself over to one side. And whichever way you like, you can press yourself up to a comfortable seated position. Allow yourself to sit up on a block, on your legs, pillow, whatever feels most comfortable for you. Really, just something that feels comfortable, authentic, and dignified in that moment. Feel this little connection to yourself is centering, learning to lean on the shoulder blades. They have literally got your back. So taking this lesson of leaning into our shoulder blades physically, and also learning to just lean into the situation to a certain extent in our lives as well. A little bit of trust can go a long way, as long as we're using that trust with a little bit of careful consideration and intelligent discernment. And so the light in me honors the light that shines in each and every one of you. I bow to your light, to your intelligence, and to your free will and respect. Have a great rest of the day, everybody, and enjoy.